Hello. Happy Monday. It is 11:15 at night, and I never work this late. But today been trying to figure out how I can live stream in my Facebook group without or with being able to share my screen. And that has been quite the quite the ordeal. So it's been like an hour or so, not that long, but kind of been figuring that out. But I really wanted to get this out there today, and I'm feeling sharp mentally. Typically at this time of night, I'm very much winding down for bed, but today I'm just feeling on it. I'm feeling like I want to show up for this, and I want to put this out there. So today we're going to be talking about how I lost 20 pounds, and going to be diving into my personal journey here. And so there's going to be a ton you can extrapolate from this to take into your own journey. If you have fat loss goals, this video will be for you. Everything about my journey was probably not going to apply to you. However, there are going to be takeaways and kind of just the foundational concepts that you can learn from here. And so let's dive into things. So reason I wanted this streaming software was to be able to share my screen. So this is funny. You can see everything, but here you go. This is my transformation from the past year. The left photo is a little over a year ago, and the photo on the right is today. Here is about a 20 to maybe 25 pound difference. And so much growth has happened between these two photos. The photo on the left, this is actually a couple years into my fitness journey. This is the result of extremely high stress year, living in a chronic state of stress, living in my, masculine action taker mode, and being so disconnected from my intuition, from my inner knowing. I had all the knowledge here when it comes to, health, fitness, transformation, all the things that I do now. However, I had taken so many steps backwards in my own journey due to an extremely high stress year. Also coming off of the pill, which led to a host of hormonal issues that I wasn't properly supporting my body through that transition. Felt like total crap, physically and mentally. Had a ton of huge life-shifting, altering things. Feel like they were kind of happening all at once. And so this was a little bit of like if you're spiritual at all, it's kind of like a dark night of the soul type of moment that was going on there. So long story short, I gained about 30 pounds, and it was a really, really hard time. However, I didn't let all of the setbacks and the letting myself down, the struggles mean something about my future. I knew that I could change, and I knew that I had all the tools in my arsenal, but I had to do something different. And that thing that was different, that was the catalyst for all the other things getting in line, was me reconnecting with myself. Like I said, got extremely disconnected from just me, from being able to listen to my body, from trusting my body, because I had so many of these hormone issues going on that my body wasn't even sending me the right signals, right? My appetite was way thrown off. My energy was horrid. And I really was falling into a lot of like avoidant type patterns, right? When a really high stress, let's say like I was really stressed one day, that would oftentimes lead to me wanting to avoid my own thoughts. And that would lead to oftentimes coping with food, right? So, kind of goes deep here in kind of what led to this weight gain. But it just goes to show that oftentimes weight gain is a lot deeper than, maybe just over consuming calories, right? Sometimes for some people, it is as simple as, hey, you are simply over consuming, and that's what we, need to address. Obviously, all the things that were happening were driving me to over consume, and that is why I gained weight, not because of the stress, but because stress drives overconsumption, right? But so for a lot of people, digging into those deeper reasons of mentally, what's going on for you that is making the environment of your body and your brain not conducive to fat loss, right? So, what did I do to get to the right side? Is lose 20 pounds, get back to feeling like myself, feeling really incredible all around. Is first off, I was patient as heck. I have never been so detached from an outcome when it comes to like having a fat loss goal. I've gone through multiple cuts where or fat loss phases where I would be extremely intentional with I'm going to lose this amount of weight, I'm going to get there by doing this, yada yada. Then oftentimes what happens is I get there, I feel deprived, I feel like I'm like white knuckling it, just to get to that goal. And then feeling like just want to, I get there and then I just want to like rebound the other way and I fall back into old patterns and behaviors and it's just very unsuccessful. My body feels very stressed out and my body's sending me signals to overconsume, get all the food in because I am so deprived and psychologically feeling restricted. So that drives me to overconsume and it's just been a lot of that yo-yo dieting in the past. And this time, this fat loss phase was I was so patient. I did it slow, and every time I've pursued fat loss, well, the last like 2 times, I've done it very slowly. And I have had so much success doing it this way. When I try and do it like 1 pound a week, which is like oftentimes the prescribed like moderate, great amount of weight loss. For some people, yes. But for me and where I'm at in my journey, doing things even slower than that has been where I've seen the most success for me personally. So going like a half a pound per week has been key for me. But it hasn't been like a linear trend line, right? Weight loss is always going to be, but really what we're looking at is the overall trend line. Is that going in the direction that we want to see? So that's the thing I did different this time is extremely patient and then also working on my internal world, right? My mental health, my mindset, my, on the left, I had dove in. I'm sorry, it's late. I dove so much into the psychology, the mindset, the behavior change aspect of fitness transformation, right? Like all that kind of self-help world, which is so valuable. Do not get me wrong. However, when that is not paired with the intuitive feeling, intuition, playful type side of you, right? When we totally cut that out, we're not in harmony. And implementing these things is often extremely difficult without the other. And so that is something that's been huge for me is learning how to slow down, learning how to be in my feminine energy a little bit more, improving my mental health, through different things in my life that I have control over, and focusing on that, prioritizing my rest, prioritizing my play, as much as I am executing when it comes to, business, etc. I used to solely live in execution mode, and that just it was very unsustainable and led to the host of hormonal type issues I had. I forgot to even mention it's not just work stress that led to this and the pill, but also I was powerlifting, which is extremely stressful on the body and requires a ton of high level like recovery. And so when I was extremely stressed out, I wasn't recovering as I needed to be, which was another thing that played into my hormonal issues and the weight gain. So it's not that powerlifting was the culprit. It was just all the things combined in my life that led me to this point. Okay, so I backed off of powerlifting. I took my training a good deal easier for a while and reconnected to myself. Yeah, that's kind of like the more like meta aspects of my journey here. But let's get into a little bit more of the tactical things. I know a lot of you are like, okay, like that's all awesome, but I want strategy, right? So let's talk strategy now. So it's always, 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 when it comes to fitness transformation, health transformation, it's going to come back to the foundations. Mastering the foundations is very, very likely what you need. You do not need to get lost in the weeds of the minutia of nutrition, fitness, and health. It is not necessary unless maybe you are a competitive bodybuilder, right? For the majority of us, we need the foundations and we need to master the foundations. We need to master showing up for these foundations consistently, right? And that's really what it comes back to. So, what are those? Let me grab my computer charger. We're a little bit low on juice right now. All right, we're good. We're charging. So, the foundations. Sleep. Huge, especially as I was healing a lot of hormonal type issues. Putting my sleep kind of above all else was extremely beneficial, and probably the number one thing I attribute to my healing journey, my ability to heal, right? The cascade that leads to being able to make better nutrition choices, to not live in a chronic state of stress, kind of, all the things. And on the left side note, when I had just super high cortisol, I could barely sleep through the night. I was getting, sometimes I would be up until 5 a.m., my nervous system being just riled the heck up because I was living in a chronic state of stress. My body, I wasn't able to be resilient and go into the high levels of stress and come back down to baseline. I was consistently living up there, which was very, very detrimental for my body and brain. And so sleep one here was huge. And I use my Aura ring. That's my sleep tracker. It gives me a sleep score. It gives me insights to my sleep, kind of the details, and it gives me just that knowledge of, all right, how am I doing? And so I really enjoy the data, looking at that. However, it's not necessary. Really, you want to make sure that you are winding down, you're getting in bed when you know you should. And personally, as women, right, we are a group of women in here. Mostly, I think there might be a couple men in here. But women need more sleep than men oftentimes. And a lot of women um, don't, recognize this maybe. I find that I thrive with about 8 to oftentimes 9 hours of sleep is what I need. And I know that sounds like a lot to some, maybe. And maybe you do okay with a little bit less. Everyone is individual. However, women oftentimes need a good deal more than men. And factor this in. Are you a high level athlete? You probably need more sleep than someone who is not, right? So I train jujitsu multiple times per week, which is extremely demanding physically, as well as resistance train, lift weights. So that is something that plays into that. Keep that in mind. But sleep, huge when it comes to healing and fat loss. It's going to really make fat loss so much easier when you can sleep more. When you're sleep deprived, your hunger hormones get thrown off. So your leptin and your ghrelin are going to be messed up due to lack of sleep. So you might have higher cravings. You might be driven by your body to overeat when you are sleep deprived because it is in a more stressed out state. So, next thing, diving into a bit of nutrition is prioritizing whole foods, right? So, um, prioritizing my protein, prioritizing wholesome sources of carbohydrates, right? As well as fruits, vegetables, healthy fat sources. That's really what you need when it comes to nutrition, right? And prioritizing these things naturally, the ultra processed type things naturally become moderated. And that's really the key here is I didn't cut anything out. I never actually have in my health and fitness journey rather than at the start, which that's what led to my binge eating um, issues, but never cut out anything specifically. I have things that I have treats in moderation, right? If I really, really want something, I'm going to have it. And oftentimes that means moderating my portion size. Or maybe I just make sure to kind of time it more so in regard to like around my training, timing a little bit more fast digesting carbohydrate sources is going to be best around training to really give your muscles that quick energy and quick recovery, restoring your glycogen fills, whatever. But so nutrition, those are going to be the basics there that really helps me move the needle. And when we prioritize whole foods, getting into a calorie deficit becomes so much easier. You don't have to, like let's say you're tracking your macros and you're eating like mostly ultra processed foods. Ultra processed foods are designed to make you want to overconsume. So if we're just trying to white knuckle it with, hitting our macro goals, right? We're still in a calorie deficit. So maybe you are losing weight and you can eat, those ultra processed foods. But in the long run, your appetite is so like ramped up. And your health status, right? Your internal health, maybe your hormones, can get thrown off from not prioritizing high quality food. So rather than, I have tracked a little bit during this time, but I've more so been in a mindful deficit, mindfully eating, right? When I mindfully eat, when I lessen my stress and I increase my sleep, I'm naturally eating in a bit of a deficit, right? And I'm moving my body. Naturally, that deficit does occur, which, right, a deficit is eating a little bit less than you burn in a day, right? Shouldn't be drastic, but that is really what's going to drive fat loss at the end of the day is you have to be in a calorie deficit. There's no workaround to that. It's the laws of thermodynamics. If you're over consuming how much you are expending in a day, you're going to gain weight, right? If you eat about the same, you're going to stay the same. Okay. So that's the foundation of fat loss, but prioritizing whole foods and quality food is going to make it a lot easier to get yourself into that deficit and to be able to sustain it without feeling like super freaking hungry, right? Next piece is always hydrated. Water is extremely important when it comes to our health and our transformation goals. So, keeping hydrated is key. Drink your water straight up, figure out what's going to work for you. Um, that one is kind of like a, to me, it's like, all right, no excuses here. Let's just freaking drink our water. Period. End of story. Don't overthink it. Just do it. Find what works for you. What works for me is I always have to have my water filled up and by me, and I carry it everywhere. Easy. Get in at, 100 ounces a day at least. Next thing was managing my stress levels, right? So coming back to working on my internal mental health, prioritizing actual rest, right? Not just avoidant patterns of and always feeling guilty for not working, etc. So managing my stress levels, trusting more in my path, a lot of different things in my life went into that. But you have to really find what works for you when it comes to that. Next piece is, of course, exercise. So moving my body, not just formal exercise, but informal exercise. So steps. Steps are so huge, especially if you are trying to lose body fat, right? They're incredible for your health. But when you're trying to lose body fat, steps is going to be the thing you want to focus on and really kind of get optimized. Probably the most optimal step range for most people is going to be about 8 to 10,000 steps per day. And it is really extremely doable, even if you are super busy. You just have to find what's going to work for you. Maybe it means an extra 20-minute walk in the morning. Maybe it means buying a desk treadmill to work while you're walking. Maybe it means going for a post-dinner walk. Or maybe it means pacing around your house more throughout the day, right? When you're on your phone, instead of sitting on the couch, pacing around. Just finding those ways that you can get in more movement. Taking the stairs instead of the escalator. List goes on and on, right? I'll go to the airport and I'm doing like laps around the airport while I'm waiting for my flight rather than just sitting there. So it's really the little things of prioritizing being fit and healthy in your everyday life. Steps is going to be that one thing that if you can make that change, that is going to really help drive you towards your goals of fat loss, better health. When it comes to steps, it can make a huge difference in how many calories we are burning in a day. So yeah, that one is really not one to overlook. If you're so focused on nutrition and you're having a hard time seeing progress, maybe you're not moving enough, and that could be like the thing that really helps you. Rather than needing to decrease your food even more and more, moving your body will be really, really beneficial there. And then formal exercise. So my training, resistance training. I cannot express enough. This is so the key to fat loss, not just weight loss, right? When we lose weight, that can be muscle too. Okay? If you want to lose body fat, you need to be preserving your muscle mass. And the way that you do that is you send your body the signal that it needs to keep it. If you're in a calorie deficit and you're not resistance training, you're going to lose more muscle. So resistance training is so key to keep that muscle mass. You're going to keep your metabolism thriving this way. You're going to maintain your muscle mass. You're going to look leaner at a higher body weight. And you are going to feel better, right? You're going to be in better health status, having more muscle. Really all around, you're going to look better. You're going to look curvier. You're going to have the shape that you want. Contrary to popular belief, it is extremely difficult to get bulky. I've been intentionally trying to get bulky for a couple of years now, and not really at that point yet where I feel bulky in any way. I feel very feminine in my body, and I feel strong and I feel good. And so resistance training as a woman, if that's a concern for you, I highly recommend doing it. And just remember that you can always maintain your muscle mass rather than keep building, but it really Focusing on building solid muscle mass and foundation is going to be oftentimes the key when it comes to a transformation, making it look like you work out, right? Is something I hear from people a lot. It's like, oh, I don't feel like I look like I work out, or they're not really seeing crazy progress or change or results. It's like you're not resistance training, you're not providing that stimulus, you're not progressively overloading your muscles, your body to send your body that muscle building signal. So resistance training is extremely key to be, on a good program that is progressing you and going to drive the adaptation that you're going after. So cardio is amazing, but if you're just doing cardio, that's really going to be a little bit more difficult. Probably you're probably going to lose muscle mass. You can kind of think of cardio as like manually burning calories, and building muscle is going to be setting up your it's like setting up it's like investing in stocks, right? Maybe you're getting like yearly dividends, right? Of or like you're getting the reward over time, because you are kind of like automatically burning calories rather than manually. Was that a good analogy? Someone gave a similar analogy on a podcast, and I don't know if that was the correct one. But nonetheless, building muscle is going to be super key when it comes to optimizing body composition. Last piece here I wrote down was high protein diet. I believe I might have touched on that above, but high protein diet, super key when it comes to retaining muscle mass, building muscle mass, feeling more satiated, right? You're going to feel fuller for longer. You're going to help minimize high spikes in blood sugar, right? That's going to help regulate your energy, your appetite, your cravings. So protein is huge when it comes to not just transformation, but our health, right? All these things are extremely important for transformation and our overall health and well-being. So that's the breakdown. That is really my journey over the past, little over a year. This is what I have done differently, and I would love to hear from you if something from this really, really, made a difference for you. If something was like stood out to you that was really helpful. I really appreciate feedback, and just always here to chat. So either comment below, message me, and I'd love to kind of hear if anything resonated. Let's see. Yeah. So I hope that this worked. This was like a 30-minute live, super late at night. But it seems to be great. Oh my goodness. Who the heck commented that? Anyways, hope that you have a good day. You might be watching this tomorrow. Most of you, I hope you're in bed. Hope you're getting that sleep, which I'm about to hit the hay. But yeah, this was really fun to just do a deep dive here. And I'd love to do like more of these, really diving into just different topics and just, yeah, helping support you through your journey. And of course, if you're looking for support, accountability, guidance, group of people who are after the same goals as you, I'd love if you join our strong and healthy community. I do one-on-one coaching with clients, nutrition and fitness coaching. So definitely reach out. We can see if we're a good fit. But yeah, hope that you have a good day, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.